dropping shit at the pilot. Niggas be broken, be sobbing, but still talking shit like they violent. Niggas is broke.
Okay, now I literally wrote the script for this video an hour after the Patriots won the Super Bowl, and I'm recording this on the day of the parade, so this may be just me speaking in the moment, but Tom Brady's 5th ring made me think, does losing in the finals or whatever championship game is in your sport automatically disqualify you from the greatest of all time discussion? Because I know a lot of people are already calling Tom Brady the greatest of all time, but there will always be people that will say, and will always say, that Joe Montana is the GOAT just for the fact that he's never lost in the Super Bowl. Now, as much as I would want to talk about football right now, I know why you guys are here, and that is for basketball. You know what I'm about to talk about, man. I'm basically alluding to the question that the NBA community is so split on. Can LeBron James ever be the GOAT when he has 4 finals losses under his belt already? Will Michael Jordan always be greater than LeBron just for the simple fact that MJ never lost and LeBron has? To me, no, I don't think losing in the finals disqualifies you from the GOAT conversation. For one, I feel like a lot of people forget that basketball is a team game. No one can win on their own, and no one can lose on their own as well. You can't just blame one person for the whole loss. I mean, my God, just look at LeBron in 2015. No Kevin Love, no Kyrie, but he still put up stats so good that I remember people saying that he should still win Finals MVP even though his team just lost. Are we really going to fault him for losing to a 67-win team when 2 All-Stars on his team were out for the whole series? Well, except for Game 1. Same goes with 2007. Like, the Cavs had no business being in that finals, nonetheless against those San Antonio Spurs. Are we really going to fault a 23-year-old LeBron James or whatever for losing to a team with 3 Hall of Famers, arguably the greatest coach of all time, and arguably the greatest power forward of all time, when LeBron had no one on that team that was a perennial all-star? Same goes with 2014, the Heat being so banged up with many injuries going to Bosh and Wade. Now the Mavs, however, were a different story. I do admit LeBron could have stepped up a lot more, but again, I just don't believe one series should disqualify a guy like LeBron from the GOAT conversation, especially considering the fact that he's been there 7 times. And we're underdogs probably 6 out of those 7 times. I mean, let's say the Heat did win that series and LeBron still put up those below average numbers, well, at least for him, those below average numbers that he put up. Would we still be talking about that series affecting his legacy? I personally don't think so. But I do get the other side of the argument. To be labeled the greatest of all time, you have to be better than anyone who has ever played the game. You have to be flawless or as near flawless in all aspects of the game, and Michael Jordan was the closest thing to perfection in terms of both numbers and accomplishments. I mean, go to the finals 6 times and win all 6 without a Game 7 is impressive. To have 2 separate three-peats and end the last one on basically a game winner is insane. There's definitely an aura to the Michael Jordan legacy. But I feel like when people talk about it that way, they just make it seem as if Michael Jordan did everything. As if he had no help. As if he were facing teams that were better than his. I mean, the only teams to me that are considered all-time great teams that MJ faced in those finals were those Jazz teams at the end of his career and maybe the Supersonics. Don't get me wrong, those other teams that MJ faced are still all-time great teams just for the fact that they made it to the NBA Finals, especially in the 90s, but in the whole grand scheme of things, no one is saying the Drexler Blazers or the old, keyword old, Showtime Lakers are in the top 15 all time. I mean, you look at the teams LeBron has had to face, those legendary Spurs teams that I just mentioned that are the epitome of ball movement and selfless play, that also had the greatest power forward of all time. The Oklahoma City Thunder, with 3 dudes that are MVP candidates right now, and are the faces of the league alongside LeBron James. And obviously, the 67 win and the 73 win Golden State Warriors. And if they face them again this year, with 2 MVPs in their prime, 2 of the greatest shooters of all time, a player that is arguably the most versatile scorer the game has ever seen, one of the most mobile and versatile power forwards in the league, a former Finals MVP as their 6th man, and a 6'7" backup point guard. Like, the only team LeBron has faced that isn't considered one of the all-time greats, again, talking about the whole grand scheme of things, are those Dallas Mavs, which he didn't beat, and they should have, obviously. But as I've said, that shouldn't disqualify LeBron from GOAT contention. Hell, looking back, the Mavs went on one of the greatest runs in history, regardless of if they faced LeBron. They swept the back-to-back champions in the Lakers, then beat a very talented team in the Oklahoma City Thunder in 5 in the Western Conference Finals. To me, MJ did what he was supposed to do, being the most superior player on the superior team, but LeBron has exceeded expectations even if he's had losses. But then again, I do get the other side of the argument. If you really are the greatest of all time, you should make your team the favorite every time. You should win every series if you are the greatest of all time. But again, when you think of it that way, you're forgetting that this game is a team game. You can't just put all the blame on LeBron when he had nothing to work with. To me, to be the greatest player, you don't have to be perfect. To be the greatest player, to me, is being the most irreplaceable player of all time. Being the guy that can do it all, night in and night out. And to me, no one has been better at those two things than the man LeBron James. And then you add the myriad of accolades he's accumulated, the championships he's won, and how significant they were, and it's very hard to downright disqualify him from the GOAT conversation just because he didn't have help against all-time great teams or went in a bad 6-game stretch. But that's just to me and my criteria of being the best player of all time. Of course, you need to have a couple of rings, to me a minimum of 3, to be considered in the conversation. But to ask for a person to be perfect every time when there's so many aspects of the game that is out of the control of these players is just too much. The other team being better than your team, the teams you face, injuries, etc, etc. I just don't think team accomplishments are a great way of definitely gauging how good a player is. I do still think it's a big part of the conversation. I mean, the ability to perform at the highest stage on a high level multiple times in your career and win is important, but I don't think it's the end-all be-all of defining how good a player is. But that's just me. I know some people do consider rings as the end-all be-all of GOAT discussions alongside MVPs, but I don't think depending on just those two numbers and those two numbers alone without context is very helpful nor fair to both sides. I mean, going back to Tom Brady, a lot of people think he's the GOAT now because he has more rings than Joe Montana and has been in more Super Bowls than the past GOAT. All I'm saying is if LeBron can do the same, why wouldn't he be considered the GOAT? Hell, to me, if the Cavs beat the Warriors this year, he's already the GOAT as it is, but if he can somehow surpass Jordan's 6 or just even tie it, the only thing MJ stands will say is Jordan went 6 for 6. That's it. But you got a man here that would have been there at least 11 times if he were to match 6 with only one real blemish on his career. Alright, let me put it this way. If you reach in a bag of Kit Kats so many times and there's one random Snickers bar in there, somewhere along the line you will pull that Snickers bar. In the case of LeBron James, he's been to 7 NBA Finals, so somewhere along the line he will get a loss, especially considering the teams that he's had to face. But I want to hear what you guys have to say about this because to me, honestly, I kind of don't know how to express my thoughts. Like, I'm saying rings aren't all that, but at the same time, I'm saying it is. But with that being said, man, I am out. Peace.